In today's matchup, we have the Mega Kaiju versus the infected Jaegers. And just to clarify, in this matchup, there will be 4 infected Jaegers, since I thought about the fight between the Mega Kaiju, and the Mega Kaiju went to fight for Jaegers already, so I'm going to make the matchup the same, except now it's obviously the infected Jaegers. The Mega Kaiju is standing right around 500 feet tall, while the infected Jaegers are each standing at around 250 feet tall. Starting out with the Mega Kaiju and its biggest strengths, the Mega Kaiju's main weapon, and the one used probably the most in Pacific Rim Uprising, is the energy absorption and redistribution power, where the Mega Kaiju can just take damage from a wide variety of weapons and just is able to redistribute them right back out in a huge explosion, which is a very good weapon and is very useful. And its probably second most dangerous weapon is its tails. The Mega Kaiju's tails are able to pierce right through Jaegers, as you see it go right through Gypsy Avenger's head. And as far as the weapons go for the infected Jaegers, the main weapons they resort to are usually rockets. They're able to fire a good amount of rockets right in a split second. And their biggest weapon, in my opinion, is the chest cannon, which is shooting a laser that can be extremely deadly, and if this laser can be used efficiently enough, it could be the most deadly weapon in the Pacific Rim universe. And the Mega Kaiju's biggest strength, in my opinion, is the toughness. The Mega Kaiju is so tough, has endured so much, and just to list off what the Mega Kaiju has actually endured, the Mega Kaiju was lined up with all 4 Jaegers from Pacific Rim Uprising, took shots from all of them all at the same time, and all that did was just allow him to absorb all of that and redistribute it out and send all the Jaegers flying. The Mega Kaiju has been sliced by the plasma chainsaws multiple times, sliced by the broadsword from Saber Athena, has been hit right in the face by the Morning Star from Bracer Phoenix, and has taken the plasma cannon right to the face multiple times. So the Mega Kaiju is just so tough. The Mega Kaiju has just endured so much, and it's shown very well in Pacific Rim Uprising how tough the Mega Kaiju is, in that it can take so many hits from so many weapons, and it'll still stand, even after it took the Jaeger bomb from Gypsy Avenger. Gypsy Avenger goes up into the atmosphere and comes down extremely fast, literally like an asteroid. The Mega Kaiju is still able to stand up and give one last roar. But the infected Jaegers have also shown their fair share of toughness, because in one scene in particular, Valor Omega takes a shot with its main weapon right to the chest of one of the infected Jaegers, and those 2 infected Jaegers in that area, they look perfectly intact later in that scene, which means those shots right to the chest of the infected Jaeger did nothing and didn't affect it at all. Now, yes, there is a shot where one of the heads gets blown off of the infected Jaegers, but that was a shot a matter of feet away from, extremely close to the infected Jaeger, and got totally caught off guard. But let's talk about the actual fight. If the Mega Kaiju was lined up with the 4 infected Jaegers right in front of him, and it would be very similar to the fight against the Mega Kaiju and the 4 Jaegers in Pacific Rim Uprising, but I do feel this fight would be different in certain aspects. One thing to note is the rockets for the infected Jaegers would basically be deemed unuseful, because if you remember the Mega Kaiju's ability, the Mega Kaiju absorbs that kind of energy. If they were to fire the rockets at the Mega Kaiju, he would just absorb it, redistribute it right back out, and that's not what the infected Jaegers want. But I do feel like the infected Jaegers could have an edge in the way that they can work together. Just the 2 infected Jaegers working together to take down Valor Omega in Pacific Rim Uprising is a very good example of how they work together. One of them was able to rip the head right off. That's how these infected Jaegers kind of work. They're not like Jaegers who are going to stand off and get ready to fight you one-on-one. They're going to try to sneak up on you. They're going to try to cheap shot you. And that's why I feel these infected Jaegers will sneak around and surround the Mega Kaiju better than what the Jaegers were able to do in Pacific Rim Uprising in that fight. But even though I do think they could sneak up on the Mega Kaiju better and surround the Mega Kaiju better, I do have to note that the Mega Kaiju has so many layers of armor, and it is so hard to actually penetrate the Mega Kaiju enough to make damage. So, surrounding the Mega Kaiju, even though the infected Jaegers have shown extreme strength ripping the head off of Valor Omega, climbing around the Mega Kaiju, they would really not be able to find much success. But the one way I do feel they could find success, if some of the infected Jaegers were able to hold off the Mega Kaiju long enough for the infected Jaegers to get their chest cannons ready, then that could be where the infected Jaegers can actually pull out a win. Because if they're able to get these chest cannons going enough and deadly enough to what they did in Pacific Rim Uprising, where they sliced a Kaiju in half coming out of the breach, then this could be exactly how they win. Because obviously the Mega Kaiju can absorb energy, but this kind of energy would be way too much, and if it was slicing Kaijus in half, and you see two of these infected Jaegers lining up, ready to fire this extremely powerful laser at the Mega Kaiju, then that could be a major issue. It seems like it's the same chest cannon that Obsidian Fury has, so if all four of these Jaegers are all lined up at different spots firing these chest cannons at the Mega Kaiju, I feel like that'd be very difficult for the Mega Kaiju to handle, even though I do feel he might use his redistribution of energy power to start. But as far as who would win this fight, I've stated a lot of positives for both of these. The infected Jaegers have obviously a lot of great teamwork, and they have very deadly weapons. The Mega Kaiju is very tough, has an obvious size advantage, and has extreme durability. But as far as what I stated with the infected Jaegers, yes, they'd be able to all use their chest cannons in different spots, but I feel the way the chest cannon starts out, it's not as powerful as it would be where it was actually slicing a Kaiju right in half. So the way these chest cannons would work at the beginning is if they were all firing them at the Mega Kaiju, he would just absorb it, redistribute it, send them flying back, and if they all are intact enough to even survive the explosion, then the Mega Kaiju would go to each of them, would just absolutely annihilate them, and once they were caught off guard, the Mega Kaiju would just crush them, kill them with his tail, or just kill him with his extreme bite force. I do feel the infected Jaegers would be able to show some good teamwork, but that teamwork would ultimately not pay off. I feel their better way would try to use the chest cannons for long-distance weapons, but in the end, I still don't think that would be enough. I don't think they'd be able to get their chest cannons to the amount of deadliness that they were in that one scene of Pacific Rim Uprising. But yeah, the Mega Kaiju versus the 4 infected Jaegers, I do believe the Mega Kaiju would still pull out the win in this fight. But as always, let me know down below who you think will win in this fight, or do you not think this is a fair fight, or let me know which fight I should do next. Let me know down below, and thanks for watching.